This is the second of a series of tutorials that teach you how to use 3D Max. In the last tutorial, I explained the 3D Max user interface, so just the basics. And in this tutorial, you're going to learn how to customize your units, set up 3D Max, and then import a plan from AutoCAD, create walls, floors, and a ceiling. So again, the shortcut to removing the grids is just the letter G on the keyboard. Then what we need to do is we need to set up our units. So we have to go to Customize, Unit Setup, and here we'll make sure that it's on metric, millimeters, and we'll click on System Unit Setup as well, and we'll make sure this one's on millimeters as well. We'll press OK. We'll make sure that our toggles, our snaps toggles, are on 2.5, so we'll click on it. When we click on it for a long time, a flyout menu appears and we can choose 2.5. We'll right click on the snaps toggle and we'll make sure that endpoint is chosen. Let's assume it wasn't, then I'll just need to click on clear all and I need to click on endpoint so that it snaps to the ends of objects. You'll understand this when we go further into the AutoCAD plan. We'll just close it. Now we can import our AutoCAD plan into 3D Max. We'll need to clean it up first, remove any dimensions that we don't need. We can click on the file icon, which is just a 3D Max icon in this program. Click on import, save down on the desktop, and just double click on the file that we want to open up. We'll get this window over here. We'll press rescale. We'll choose millimeters and then we'll press OK, and the AutoCAD file that we created should be imported in our 3D Max. What we can do is we can select the whole plan, go to the layers here, manage layers, this icon, click on it, create a new layer. We can rename it plan, and we can freeze it so that we don't move it by mistake. And then we can create a new layer that we'll be working on and we'll rename it walls, for example. We'll unfreeze this layer and we'll create a specific color for it so that we know that this is the layer we're working on. So again, the plan is frozen so that while I'm working, I don't by mistake move it around. But then I also need to right click on my snaps toggle, go to options and make sure snap to frozen objects is on, or else the squares won't appear in the corners for you. Alt W. Now we can try to create the walls now. We'll go to the create tab. We'll go to shapes. Again, anything 2D we can create it from the shapes subcategory, and anything that's 3D we can create it from geometry. So we'll go online and we'll choose corner because everything's angled in this plan, and then we can just trace over the walls that we're going to create. You shouldn't leave a gap for the doors. We're going to do that later on using Boolean, so we're going to subtract that out. Close spline, press OK, and then we'll go to the modify tab. We'll go to extrude and we'll make sure the amount, for example, if it's 3 meters, 300 millimeters, we'll press enter. If I go to Alt W, it should be extruded in my perspective view. I created the walls on their own. Now I'm going to just create the window over here. I can go to rectangle and click from corner to corner and extrude this part. Make sure it's on 300 millimeters. The reason why I didn't extrude the door is because I don't want a gap from the beginning till the end of the wall. The door is only 2 meters, so I want the door to be around 2 meters and then it comes back down, so don't make that mistake. The next thing we're going to do is we'll create a flooring. So we can just go to the create tab, rectangle, and just create a rectangle from the beginning to the end of the plan. Go to the modify tab, extrude it, and we'll just extrude it 1 millimeter, for example, just so we can have a surface to add flooring on later on. So this is what it's gonna look like. we'll make sure that our window, that we create a window, that the window is extruded. Just click and drag on the window part, and then we'll go to extrude, and we're going to choose 3 meters. And then we'll do the same thing for the ceiling. We can choose the flooring. If it's hard to click on, then we can just go on the perspective view and press on it. If you want to move from one viewport to the other without removing your selection, then you have to right click on the other viewport. So for example, if I clicked here, notice the selection went. So what I have to do is click on it in the perspective view and then right click to move to the front viewport. Alt W will zoom out a bit. Then I'll use the move tool and I'll keep my hand on shift. This is how you copy in 3D Max. I'll close my snaps, and the shortcut for that is S on your keyboard. You'll press shift and you'll use the Y axis to just drag this up. Obviously it's not going to be the right dimension, but we're going to change that now. And just remove your selection, you remove your hand from the mouse, and you'll get this little window over here. You'll get copy, instance, or reference. Copy is obviously when you copy something. Instance is if you change one of the things, then the other will change with it. It's very useful for lights, for example. If you create spotlights, you want them sometimes to be instance, because if you realize that the place is too bright, you don't want to go one by one and change every single one on its own in the modifier list. Instead, you want to change one and all the rest change with it. But for this circumstance, obviously, we don't want the ceiling to be exactly like the flooring, and anything we do in the flooring to be done to the ceiling. So in this instance, we'll choose copy and we'll click OK. Then we can right click on the move tool, and in the Z axis, choose exactly where we want our ceiling to be. We can press 3000 in the Z axis, and then we can just close this, and it's done. So this tutorial just showed you how to import things from AutoCAD and how to create walls, ceiling, and flooring. Obviously, it shows now, it just looks like one big block, but in the next tutorials, you'll learn how to add cameras, how to add materials, and how to add lighting to your space, so it's going to look much more like an interior space.